Yo, 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 Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who the hell is this guy? He's been gone for a week and a half, and I thought that he just went down into a downward spiral of self-pity and depression once the Buffalo Bills lost to the New England Patriots. But, guys, while that's partially true, it's not the entire reason why I was gone. In fact, this past week, I was just enjoying time with my family and close friends for the holidays. And so I hope that you did the exact same thing as well. But while that break was relaxing and much deserved, Buffalo Bills news needs to be reported. And that's exactly why Jaboy is here for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, the regular season is over. And notice I'm not counting this Jets game that's coming up on Sunday. In fact, guys, now we just need to be looking into the playoffs. The Buffalo Bills have finally clinched the playoff berth super early. This is not something that Bills fans are used to. So there's a lot to be thankful for this season, especially when you look back at some of the media heads, some of the reporters that basically had us going an average of 5-11 or 6-10. We were able to completely exceed expectations, not only from those talking heads, but from our own fans as well. We ended up taking basically an entire new offense and somehow putting together a 10-11 win season, which is unheard of, especially how the rest of the league was thinking that our season was going to end up. At the end of the day, whatever happens during the playoffs, I think we should be proud of our boys. I really, really do. So guys, today there are quite a few stories that I do want to cover. But before we dive into it, like I was telling you the past couple of videos, I did drop merch. So it's the Run the Damn Ball collection. This just came in for me a couple of days ago. I did wear this during the Patriots game. Got a lot of compliments. I'm not wearing it because it reeks of whiskey and sex, but whatever. That doesn't mean that yours will once you order one in the merch store. And alright folks, so the first story of the day, I am going to take this time and bitch about the officiating that occurred during the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots this past Saturday. Now I know, Dan, stop being salty, we lost the game, let's just look into the future. Well, Don Mafia, it's really hard, especially with some of those abysmal calls that were graced upon us this past Saturday. I probably could make an hour-long video bitching about this, but I'm just going to condense it into two main plays that I think were game changers. Number one, the completely failed intentional grounding call on Tom Bitchboy Brady. In fact, I ended up finding a graphic online. Let's take a look at this. Right as you can see, you have Bitchboy on the ground, and the ball is laying maybe about 5-6 yards away. So then, of course, the 12th man, right of the New England Patriots offense, says that 34 was in the area. Let's pull up this graphic again. There's 34. There's the ball. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is not in the area. He's not down the street. He is out of the country. But you know what? I shouldn't be surprised because Tom Brady has been getting away with this since the beginning of his damn career. So, I mean, why am I pissed about this, you might ask? Because that was not the only shitty call of the game. In fact, there was one that was even worse. That 4th and 1, where Josh Allen, who made an incredible play, somewhat similar to what he did in Dallas, but this time, as soon as when the ball was snapped to him, it looked like he was about to get swallowed up the first millisecond that the play started. But then he bounces off the O-line and makes an incredible play. Was pumped up, screaming in a public place at a bar, was ready to go. But then there was a replay. And it showed that there was probably the most blatant face mask I have ever seen. And what do you know, ladies and gentlemen? It didn't get called. That was the drive that we could have ended up making some noise and tying the game. So why am I so pissed off about that call, ladies and gentlemen? While we did convert there, if that face mask were to be called, we would have been on the New England Patriots 13-yard line, 1st and 10. And maybe that wouldn't have made a difference, but for some reason, I just had a gut feeling that if that face mask were to be called, then the outcome of that game would have been entirely different. And so the only thing that we can hope for is once we see the New England Patriots again in the playoffs, we're going to kick their ass. Next story. About 2 or 3 days ago, Sean McDermott was interviewed and he said that he plans on playing the majority of his playmakers. Now, before he said this, me being a fan and me looking into the playoffs, I was expecting Sean McDermott to go out there and say that he was planning on resting Josh Allen, Singletary, most likely Frank Gore, John Brown, Beasley, and then maybe a couple of playmakers on defense. But no, that's not the case. In fact, it sounds like that he plans on starting the majority of his team. Now, so do I agree with this? It's sort of a mixed bag, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. Number one, I am absolutely terrified that one of our key playmakers is going to get injured during this meaningless game. But then, right at the second time, I did see how our team played right after the bye week. We came out slow and rusty. And so at the end of the day, I really don't know how to think about this. In my opinion, what I think that Sean McDermott should do is treat this game like a preseason game. Like, just let the first team offense go out there, maybe run a couple of drives, and then let Barkley and the second and third stringers take it from there. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I could care less. 10-6 or 11-5. We're in the playoffs, and that's the most important thing about it. So, I mean, honestly, just whatever. Let's just hope that we treat this like a preseason game, and then maybe Josh can throw, for 1 or 2 touchdowns, and Devin Singletary can run for about 40-50 yards just to keep the juices flowing. I mean, that's okay, but no one better get hurt. All right, third story of the day. It is clear, not unless an absolute miracle happens, but we are going to be playing the Houston Texans during the wild card weekend. Now, I do plan on doing a very in-depth video right of our opponent. I really have an in-depth video of our opponent coming up that I will drop within the next couple of days. But the main story here is that Will Fuller is most likely not going to be playing during that wild card game. Now, that is fantastic news, because while Will Fuller was a surprise this year, trust me, I know, because I drafted Hopkins, and then Will Fuller just decided to take the majority of the big-ass plays for Houston this year. But it's going to be great, because now the only thing the Bills need to worry about is DeAndre Hopkins. Will Fuller is a great playmaker. He turned out to be one of Watson's favorite targets, but I feel good about him not being eligible to play that game, especially once you have Trey White on Hopkins and our secondary as a whole. I really think that we're going to come out on top in this game, guys. But like I said, I am going to be dropping a video going into further detail about this, so definitely stay tuned for that. All right, final story of the day. Mark Miller. You know the guy. The Buffalo all the way this time. Now, normally what I would do is put a clip of that in there, but unfortunately, Mr. Miller is getting quite too happy. Let's put it that way. So, dude man rose to fame. He finally came out of the woodwork 25 years later, right after that, once the Buffalo Bills beat the Dallas Cowboys, which is great, Like, hell, man, you're an icon. Why not monetize it, right? So, he went through a couple of public spats, number one with Resurgence Brewing, where he said that he didn't want Resurgence Brewing selling his likeness on a can, which, I mean, it's understandable, right? He definitely ended up having that likeness, and he ended up finding a way to work together with Resurgence so he could actually see some type of kickback for that. He started selling merch, but then yesterday, this is where my dude may have gone a little too far. Mark Miller bit the hand that fed him. By tweeting at Bills PR, saying that the Bills didn't have permission to use his interview clip to promote the sale of tickets. Now, Mark, this is where you're wrong here, buddy. Believe it or not, Don Mafia, your boy went to law school. Fun fact. Your likeness is something that can be monetized. However, when it comes to news interviews, that is not owned by you. That is 100% owned by the news station that conducted that interview by itself. And so while I respect the fact that you're going out and you're trying to monetize your notoriety, I get that, dude. Make that money. But don't go after the damn team that basically made you who you were. I mean, what can you do? Mark, still a big fan of your interview. Most likely I'll still buy one of your shirts because it's just dope. But come on, dude. Don't let the money turn you to a monster. All right, Dom Mafia, that's going to have to do it. Once again, my sincerest apologies for being away so long. Guys, this next week, I'm going to be pumping out some content. I really am. I'm thinking about doing a video completely dedicated to the Houston Texans. And what I'll do there is sort of describe their strengths and weaknesses and then sort of put how the Bills can respond to that specifically. That's what I think I'm going to do. Do me a favor and comment what type of videos you want to see leading up to the playoffs. Say that you want a preview video to the Jets game. I mean, I can do one, but just let me know. Shoot me a comment. Let me know what you want to see. And more importantly, let's go Buffalo.